Hello, everyone. This is the start of my 30-minute reading a day journey. So, yeah, to improve my speaking abilities. Here we go, 30 minutes starting now. There are no physical actions divorced from some desire, some effort in some direction, some objective, without one's feeling inwardly a justification for them. There is no imagined situation which does not contain some degree of action of thought. There should be no physical actions created without faith in their reality, consequently, a sense of truthfulness. All this bears witness to the close bond between physical action and all so called elements of the inner creative state. Actions create the physical life of a role. The creation of the physical life is half the work on a role because, like us, a role has two natures, physical and spiritual. To permeate external physical actions with inner essentials, the spiritual life of a part, you must have appropriate material. This you find in the play and in your role. Because a role, more than action in real life, must bring together the two lives of external and internal action in mutual effort to achieve a given purpose. The spirit cannot but respond to the actions of the body, provided, of course, that these are genuine, have a purpose, and are productive. Thanks to this approach, a part acquires inner content. A part acquires inner content. External action acquires inner meaning and warmth from inner feeling, and the latter finds its expression in physical terms. To sum up, the point of physical action lies not to themselves as such, but in what they evoke. Conditions, propose circumstances, feelings. The fact that the hero of a play kills himself is not so important as the inner reason for his suicide. If that does not appear or is lacking in interest, his death as such will pass without leaving any impression. There is an unbreakable bond between an action of the stage and the thing that precipitated it. My mom called me, so I had to go for a second, but I'm back at it. And we are starting. I'm going to just not restart, but I'm going to start it at 28 because I was already reading for 2 minutes. Okay. I also got tea. The spirit cannot but respond to the actions of the body, provided, of course, that these are genuine, have a purpose, and are productive. Thanks to this approach, a part acquires inner content. External action acquires inner meaning and warmth from inner feeling, and the latter finds its expression in physical terms. To sum up, the point of physical action lies not in themselves as such, but in what they evoke. Conditions, propose circumstances, feelings. The fact that the hero of a play kills himself is not so important as the inner reason for his suicide. If that does not appear or is lacking in interest, his death as such will pass without leaving any impression. There is an unbreakable bond between the action of the stage and the thing which precipitated it. In other words, there is a complete union between the physical and spiritual being of a role. That is what we make use of in our psychotechnique. Pattern of physical actions. Write down the list of physical actions you would undertake if you found yourself in a situation of your imaginary character. Do the same work with the textual role. Write down the list of actions which your character undertakes in accordance with the plot of the play. If the work of the playwright is drawn from the living sources of human nature and human experiences and feelings, there will be coincidence at many points between the two lists, especially at all the basic places. To feel yourself even partly in your role and your role even partly in you is the initial step of merging with and living your part. People who do not understand the line of the physical being in a role laugh when you explain to them that a series of simple physical realistic actions has a capacity to engender engender the life of a human spirit in a role. The point does not lie in these small realistic actions, but in the whole creative sequence which is to put into effect thanks to the impulse given by these physical actions. C. Elements of the inner creative state: immobility, justification, psychotechnique, tempo, rhythm, and movement. Actor as master of his art. It takes a great artist to convey great feelings and passions. An actor of great power and technique. Without this last, an actor is incapable of transmitting the universal hopes and tribulations of man. Lack of understanding and education stamps our art as immature. Without a complete and profound mastery of his art, an actor cannot carry over to a spectator either the idea, theme, or living content of any play. An actor grows as long as he works. Over a period of years of study, an actor learns to follow a right course of his own, and having learned to do his work properly, he becomes a master of his art. Actor as a true artist. A real artist must lead a full, interesting, varied, and exciting life. He should know not only what is going on in the big cities, but in the provincial towns, faraway villages, factories, and the big cultural centers of the world as well. He should study the life and psychology of the people who surround him, of various other parts of the population, both at home and abroad. We need a broad point of view to act the plays of our times and of many peoples. To reach the pinnacle of fame, an actor has to leave more than the artist's talents. He must be an ideal human being, capable of reaching the high points of his epoch, of grasping the value of culture in the life of his people, of reflecting the spiritual cravings of his contemporaries. Actor in his role. Closeness to your part we call perception of yourself in the part of the part in you. Suppose you go through the whole play, find the right accusations, and accustom yourself to executing them. Find the right actions and accustom yourself to executing them from the start to finish. You will then have established the physical life of a part. You must remember that the actions are based on inner feelings. Inside of you, parallel to the line of physical actions, you have an unbroken line of emotions verging on the subconsciousness. Moreover, you can speak for your character in your own person. Bring yourself to the point of taking hold of a new role concretely, as if it were your own life. When you sense that real kinship to your part, your newly created being will become soul of your soul, flesh on your flesh. Actor in opera. The objective of the director of an opera is to sift out the action inherent in the musical picture and restate the composition of sounds in terms of dramatic, that is, say, the visual. In other words, the action should be determined to a far greater degree by the musical score than merely by the text. The objective of the director is to explain exactly what it is that the composer wished to say when he wrote each phrase of his score and what dramatic action he had in mind, even though this last may have been only subconsciously in mind. I believe there is no basis for dividing operas into operas for singing and musical dramas, for every opera is a musical drama. The chef exponent of the action in an opera is the singer-actor, not the conductor, who often misses the point of dramatic action. The most necessary item of equipment for an operatic artist is, beyond all doubt, a well-placed voice which enables him to sing both vowels and consonants. The consonants are the more important because they are what carry through the volume of the orchestral accompaniment. The famous singer Batustini owed the volume of his voice to his ability to reinforce his tone through consonants. Tamagno was a dramatic and magnificent Othello in opera because he studied his role with the great tragic actor Salvini, and his musical mentor was Verdi himself. Another master of diction was Chalapin. Because he had an intuitive genius, he was able to find the right expression and achieved by this means an unparalleled effect. The production notes of Richard Wagner contain, among other things, the secret of producing an opera. You can bring the Wagner heroes to life and make human beings out of them, and you can wean them from everything operatic and plan their actions in consonance with inner meaning in music and not the external effects. In opera, I take my point of departure from the music. I try to discover what it was that prompted the composer to write his work. Then I try to reproduce this in the action of the singers. If the orchestra plays a prelude introducing a scene before the action begins, we are not content to have the orchestra simply. Orchestra simply play this. We put it into scenic terms, in the sense of actions, words, phrases. Thus, we often use action to illustrate the other instruments which lend color to the orchestra. If an instrument gives the theme of death, the singer will feel the corresponding emotions. He must not disregard these preludes and use the time to clear his throat to prepare his entrance. He must be ready. He must already be a part of the unbroken pattern of the unfolding life of a human spirit in his part of the play. The bond with the music must be so close that the action is played in the same rhythm as the music, but this should not be rhythm for the sake of rhythm. I would like this union of rhythm, of action and music to be imperceptible to the public. We tried to have the words merge with the music and be pronounced musically. Since I look upon opera as a collective creation of several arts, the words, the text, diction must be as well worked out as possible on the part of the singer. The public must understand everything that is transpiring on the stage. I even wish to have every word of the ensemble and chorus singing made intelligible. Chalapian is the great criterion in opera. Chalapians cannot be made, but the method of Chalapin should be taught because artists of his caliber come once in a century. The age of the actor has arrived. He is the top person in the theater. In opera, the need is not only for a good singer, but also a good actor. There must be a matching of the dramatic art with the vocal musical art. Actor in the films. An actor in the talking films is obliged to be incomparably more skillful and technically expert than the actor on the stage. If the requirements of true art rather than routine accomplishment are to be applied to him, film actors need real theater training. They should be bred on repertoire of the world geniuses like Shakespeare, Griboyedov, Gogol, and Chekhov, and not on ordinary movie scripts. Film actors are often called upon to play the last sequences in a picture and then the first. They have to die and be born later on, and all this is usually improvised. They rehearse death and then birth. Actors, I was thinking about it. Actor in the theater. In our theater, which had its genesis in the Shakespearean traditions, the first place has always been assigned to the actor. For him, we did everything that lay in our power. The theater exists above all, for the actor, and without him it cannot exist at all. The only king and ruler of the stage is the talented actor. The main difference between the art of the actor and all the arts is that every other performing artist may create whenever he is in the mood of inspiration. But the artist of the stage must be the main difference between the art of the actor and all the other arts is that every other non-performing artist may create whenever he is in mood of inspiration. But the artist of the stage must be the master of his own inspiration and must know how to call it forth at the hour announced on the posters of the theater. This is the chief secret of our art. Actors use their own feelings. Must we use our own? Must we use our own same old feelings in every kind of role, from Hamlet to Sugar in the Bluebird? What else can you do? Do you expect an actor to invent all sorts of new sensations, or even a new soul, for every part he plays? How many souls would be obliged to house? Can he tear out his own soul and replace it by one he has rented as being more suitable to a certain point? Where can he get one? You can borrow things, all sorts, but you cannot take feelings away from another person. My feelings are inalienably mine, and yours belong to you in the same way. You can understand a part, sympathize with the person betrayed, and put yourself in his place so that you will act as he would. That arouse feelings in the actor that are analogous to those required for the part. Those feelings will belong not to the person created by the author of the play, but to the actor himself. When a real artist is speaking the Hamlet soliloquy, to be or not to be, he puts into the lines to be or not to be, he puts into the lines much of his own conception of life. For him, it is necessary that the spectators feel his inner relationship to what he's saying. The musical scale has only 7 notes, the sun spectrum only 7 primary colors. Yet the combinations of these notes in music and those colors in painting are not to be numbered. The same must be said of our fundamental emotions. Actuality on the stage. Adaptation. Adaptation means both the inner and outer human means that people use in adjusting themselves to one another in a variety of relationships, and also as an aid in affecting an object, person. I got no light. Okay. Adaptations are made consciously and unconsciously. The most powerful, vivid, and convincing ones are the products of nature, are almost wholly of subconscious origin. Each actor has his own special attributes. They spring from varied sources. Each change of circumstance, setting, place of action, time brings a corresponding adjustment. All types of communication require adjustment peculiar to each. If people in ordinary life need and make use of large variety of adaptations, actors need a correspondingly greater number because we must be constantly in contact with another, and therefore incessantly adjusting ourselves. The quality of the adjustment plays a great part. Vividness, colorfulness, boldness, delicacy, shadings, exquisiteness, taste. In the process of using adaptations, there are 2 moments. First, the selection of an adjustment, and second, an execution, which is largely subconscious. Such adaptations I call semi-conscious. Our subconscious has its own logic. Since we find subconscious adaptations so necessary in our art, we find that the greatest artists use them. However, even these exceptional people cannot produce them at any given time. They come only in moments of inspiration. Wow, hold on. That hit me. Effective memory. Immature attitude. The worst enemy of progress is prejudice. It holds back progress, blocks the way to it. In our art, one such example of prejudice is the opinion which defends an amateurish attitude of an actor towards his work. There can be no art without virtuosity, without practice, without technique, and the greater the talent, the more they are needed. Amateurs reject talent, not because of conscious convictions, but out of unbridled laziness. Indeed, among professional actors, there are many who have never changed their amateurish attitudes towards acting. What does analysis consist of? Analysis. What does analysis consist of? Its purpose is to search out creative stimuli to excite the actor, lacking which there can be no identification with the part. The purpose of analysis is the emotional deepening of the soul of a part. Analysis studies the external circumstances and events of the life of a human spirit in the part. It searches in the actor's own soul for emotions common to the role of himself, for sensations, experiences, for any elements promoting ties between him and his part. And it seeks out any spiritual or other material germane to creativeness. Analysis dissects, discovers, examines, studies, weighs, recognizes, rejects, confirms. It uncovers the basic direction and thought of a play and part, the superobjective and the through line of action. This is the material it feeds to imagination, feelings, thoughts, and will. Analysis is not solely an intellectual process. Many other elements enter into it, all the capacities and qualities of an actor's nature. Analysis is a means of coming to know, that is, to feel a play, so that in the process of analysis one must use the mind with utmost caution. Take a firmer hold of physical actions. They are the key to freedom for creative nature, and they will protect your feelings from all force. As you are drawn to physical actions, as you are drawn to physical actions, you are drawn away from the life of your subconscious. In that way, you render it to free to act and induce it to work creatively. This action of nature in its subconscious is so subtle and profound that the person who is doing the creating is unaware of it. My method draws into action by normal and natural means and the subtlest creative forces of nature. This naturally induced self-analysis is what I wish to stress. Absorbed by immediate physical actions, we do not think about it, nor are we aware of it, the complex inner process of analysis which naturally and imperceptibly goes on inside of us. We have many ways of learning through the analysis of a play and its role. We can retell the content of the play, make lists of facts and events, given circumstances proposed by the author. We can divide a play up into pieces, dissect it, and divide it into layers, think up questions and provide the answers. Organize general discussions, arguments, and debates. Weigh and estimate all facts, find names for units and objectives. And these differing practical methods are part of the single process of analysis or coming to know the play and your part. Search for creative stimuli that will provide ever new impulses of excitement, ever new bits of live material for the spirit of a role. Aphorism of Pushkin. The great Russian poet Pushkin wrote about dramatists as follows: sincerity of emotions, feelings that seem true in given circumstances. That is what we ask of a dramatist. I add that it is exactly what we ask of an actor. The work of an actor is not to create feelings, but only to produce the given circumstances in each true feelings and spontaneously be engendered. Feelings that seem true refer not to actual feelings, but something nearly akin to them, to emotions reproduced indirectly, under the prompting of true inner feelings. Appraising the facts of a play. The inner life of the characters is concealed of the outer circumstances of their life. Therefore, in the facts of the play, the significance of the appraisal of facts lie in its forcing actors to come in contact mentally with each other, making them take action, struggle, overcome, or give in to fate or other people. It uncovers their aims, their personal lives, the mutual attitudes of the actor himself as a living organism in a role, with other characters in the play. It clarifies the inner life of the play. To appraise the facts is to find the key to appraise the facts is to find the key to the middle of the inner life of a character which lies hidden under the text of the play. Art of the actor and art of the director. The actor's creative process starts when he becomes immersed in the play. He should first of all independently or with the aid of the director, discover the fundamental motive of the play to be produced. The kernel, this basic line of action through all the episodes, we call the through line of action. The interpretation of a drama and the character of its presentation in physical form on the stage is always and inevitably to some degree subjective, colored by both the personal and national traits of the director and the actors. Having arrived at the kernel which determines the through line of action of the play, all participants of the future production will be drawn together by it in their creative work. Each one, to the extent of his capacities, will try to realize in terms of acting that same artistic goal which the playwright set himself in his medium. As for the outer form of production, the stage sets, the props, all that is of value only to the extent and it promotes the expressiveness of dramatic action and the art of the actor, and it should under no circumstances whatsoever draw the public because of any independent artistic quality, something which great artists among our scene designers have wished to do right up to the present time. Stage sets as well as incidental music are only auxiliary, supporting factors in theater art, and it is the duty of the director to draw from them only what is necessary to illuminate the drama being unfolded before the public, and to see that they remain subservient to what the actors are called upon to do. Artistic truth, natural beauty. Truth on the stage is not the small external truth which leads to naturalism. It is what you can sincerely believe in. Even an untruth must become a truth in the eyes of the actor and the spectator in order to be artistic. The secret of art is that it converts a fiction into a beautiful artistic truth. From the moment when the actor and the spectator come to doubt the reality of the actor's life in the play, truth vanishes, and with it, emotion and art. They are replaced by pretense, theatrical falseness, imitation, routing, acting. Nature and truth are invisible. Natural beauty is the true friend of our being. Beauty cannot be fabricated. It exists in nature all around in each and one of us. There are no greater beauty in the world than nature itself. One must know how to look at it and see beauty. One must know how to carry beauty over from the life of nature onto the stage without crushing or mangling it. Attention, concentration, creativeness is the first. Creativeness is the first of the complete concentration of the entire nature of the actor. As one performance is given by a visiting star, I felt the presence of the creative mood in his playing, the freedom of his muscles in conjunction with a great general concentration. His attention was on the stage and the stage alone. The actor must have a point of attention, and this must not be in the auditorium. Concentrating attention. In real life, there are always objects that fix our attention, but conditions in the theater are different and interfere with the actors living normally, so that an effort to fix attention becomes necessary, to learn anew to look at things on the stage and to see them. Intensive observation of an object naturally arouses a desire to do something with it, to do something with it in turn intensifies your observation of it. This mutual interaction establishes a stronger contact with the object of your intention. In watching the acting of great artists, their creative inspiration is always bound up with the concentration of attention. When an actor's attention is and turned toward the spectators, he acquires a special hold on them, forcing them to participate actively in his artistic life. The actor who has been trained habit can limit his intention without a circle of attention. He can concentrate on whatever enters that circle, and with only half an ear can listen to what transpires outside of it. He can even narrow the circle to produce a state we may call public solitude. This circle of attention is usually flexible. It can be enlarged or shrunk by the actor in accordance with whatever must be occluded for the purpose of the stage action. Inside the limits of the circle, there is an immediate and central object of attention. Creativeness on the stage, where during the preparation of a part or during its repeated performance demands complete concentration of the actor's physical and inner nature, the participation of all his physical and inner faculties. Concentrated sensory attention. To grasp your object firmly when you are acting, you need another type of attention, which causes an emotional reaction. You must have something which will interest you in the object of your attention and serve to set in motion your whole creative apparatus. It is, of course, not necessary to endow every object with an imaginary life, but you should be sensitive to its influence on you. Imagine circumstances can transform. Oh, I guess that's it.
Wakey, eggs and bakey, nigga.
Alrighty, we read 30 minutes of An Actor's Handbook by Konstantin Stanislavski.
Wakey, eggs.
And stopped right there. Alrighty, day 1 completed. Let's go.